Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of 10 Minute Tuesday. If you have not already, please like, share, and subscribe. In today's episode, I got my guy Salam in the building. Salam, what's going on, brother?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Seko?
I'm good, man. Appreciate you taking time on. We met online via LinkedIn, I think Technical Freelance Academy. I'm following what you're doing, man. You're doing phenomenal stuff. So appreciate you being on 10 Minute Tuesday, bro.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's also a pleasure being here with you. And I think we've spoken about twice now. So you see the power of LinkedIn here.
It's crazy. All right, well, enough about me talking. Let's get into it for you, Salam. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the people.
Hi, everyone. My name is Salam Adedokun, and I'm a principal data solutions consultant at Insight Titan. So what we do is we basically work with marketing agencies to design and implement data solutions.
Awesome. So went independent, you worked for a couple places and done a lot of things, right? I saw your background and stuff. But what really compelled you to get into data to begin with?
Hmm. That's an interesting question. So I'll just take you back to where I started from and the journey basically on how I was taking a step every time. And I believe that would be a highlight of everything. So my background initially is electrical engineering, and then I did a couple of engineering jobs. I got lucky to get into the energy industry in Nigeria. So the energy industry is sort of one of the most attractive sectors in Nigeria. But what I was doing wasn't as exciting, but I had to find a way to make it work. What we were doing then was we're working with loads of Excel, more of data entry jobs. But one thing I didn't know at that time was that I didn't understand how good I was at Excel compared to the average Joe. And I found myself building reports using the VLOOKUP and also using formulas, basic things that the regular person didn't know how to use. And it caught the attention of the team leaders. And then someone called me to the side. I can't remember who this particular person was, and told me to check out Data Camp. At that time, Data Camp was in the early years, and I took two courses. I believe one was in analytics for SQL, analytics for Python. After that, I found it exciting. I went on to pursue my master's in data analytics. And the reason why I'm sharing this is because I want you to also have preview to how I was able to get a view of both worlds. So after my master's, I worked as a data analyst for a while, and I wanted to get a new job. In that new job, I was down to the last two people for that particular role, and I didn't get the job. But what happened was the interesting part of it. The person that got the job was the better data analyst, and I was perceived to be the better data engineer. And the reason that was because I documented my transformation using multiple tools like Python, R, and I also used SQL just to show that I was the best fit for the job. The hiring manager then reached out to me and said, okay, we think you'll be a better fit for the data engineering role that's coming up soon. And that was how I got in. I later grew from being a junior data engineer to then become a senior data engineer. And that was how I was able to touch both worlds as a data analyst and a data engineer.
Awesome. So really, introduction. Shout out to your manager who was just like, man, you should get on data camp and try some stuff out, right? We if that manager had not empowered you to further your education and get you, into something else, you might not have necessarily been a data engineer or data analyst or, where you're at now where you're independent. So man, shout out to the manager. That's awesome. That's a great story.
Yeah. Yeah, it was exciting. I mean, it works well for the journey. Like I said, you just need to keep pushing, keep trying, and whenever you're given the opportunity, just jump at it.
Love it. So I think you kind of hinted at it, and I wouldn't consider it a failure. But we have this question on here called "What's the biggest failure?" Well, what's your biggest failure? Quotation marks around failure, because everything that you learn, you get something from that experience. So thinking about your career, what would you consider your biggest failure, and what really did you gain from that?
Mm. Yeah, like you mentioned, there are lots here. The one that I can remember, and which is the closest, is working with a SaaS business. I was contracting with them, but what they needed didn't really align with what I thought they needed. And I'll get to that in a couple of seconds. Uh, I was contracted to build their data infrastructure, and I was also contracted to help implement their modern analytics. And that was easy for me. I understand the technicalities, I understand everything that needs to be done. I built this solution for them, but eventually they were not able to answer questions that they needed to ask. I spent a lot of time building the data warehouse, and they were still not able to get like the questions that they needed to get out of this dashboard. And one thing I learned after this engagement was that I didn't really understand what the business wanted from that endeavor. I didn't really understand why they needed to build that much solution. I mean, it's all great and nice to be able to build a dashboard that loads in 5 seconds. It's all good to have fancy dashboard. But if you're not answering the question that that particular business needs you to answer, then there's always going to be a disconnect. So my takeaway here was whatever field I find myself in, I want to understand what is important to that field.
Yeah, I think that's a lesson, especially as we evolve, right? We become senior data engineers or senior data analysts or entrepreneurs or contractors, right? It's always, you tie everything back to the business. Like it always has to go back to the business of business value, business outcome, business problem. Like the standard stakeholder doesn't care about the latest pipeline enhancement or the newest Snowflake function or the latest Power BI update or tablet, whatever it is, right? It's like, how is this helping my business? So I love that you learned that lesson. I've learned it as well, like big time. So I feel like that's something that we all have definitely picked up on. All right. So the audience for this podcast are people who are either starting their career in data, pivoting in data, or they just want to understand more. So thinking about that, what is one piece of advice you give someone who's just starting out in their career?
Mm, that's a good question. One piece of advice is continue learning, continuous learning. And I know a lot of people have heard that statement, and it's so vague. So I like to always share something that is repeatable. And and this repeatable framework is learn, build, show, and network. So pick something you want to learn, and whatever you're going to pick, make sure it touches on the bigger sphere. So something like Excel touches on, if you understand Excel, there's a big chance that you understand Power BI. If you understand SQL, there's a big chance that you also understand data model. You want to touch on something that solves a lot of problems from the get-go because you're just starting out. And two, you want to build. So now that you've learned SQL, you want to start building using SQL. And three, you want to show what you've built, right? Whatever you've built in your learning stage, you want to show it to as much people as you can. What I used was LinkedIn. You can use any other platform, but I think LinkedIn is a good place to start. YouTube is also a good place to start. And the fourth and most important is you need to build a tribe around that. You need to find a community to join, which is where I met you. You need to find a community to join that you can learn more from. You're just starting out. You need to understand what is trending, and you need to see other options of what might also interest you. So cast your net as wide as possible at the beginning, and then try to dive into what really, really interests you.
I love that. And I'm going to take your acronym going forward. So learn, build, show, network. Oh man, yeah, I'm taking that. I love that. So anytime someone hears that going forward, I got it from my guy Salam. Like, yeah, I'm always gonna give you
Yeah,
credit as
learn,
I use that going
learn,
forward.
build, show, and network.
Love it, love it. All right, tell me about the most influential people in your life and how they made an impact on you.
Ooh, that's a good question. And I consider myself to be a sponge. So I learn from everyone, and I can still remember the first day we spoke. I remember everything you said to me. Every interaction I get to learn because my journey is transient. Like I told you, from how I started to how I've gotten here, I don't have a choice than to keep learning, right? And then one thing that I keep it at top of mind is I try to learn from people that are closer to my journey, right, than people that are far off because it's easier. So to answer your question, there's really not one person. Only if you're about to ask, okay, who's that person that influenced me the most in A or in B? Like definitely I would shout out to my manager if you're going to ask about data. And if you're going to ask about the kind of mindset I have, definitely my parents, my mom, my dad, like those people have like the growth mindset and they don't care. They just want to get things done. So yeah, those would be the
Awesome.
three that will pop up to my mind.
Awesome, man. Shout out to everybody. You are a sponge, man. You have great energy and like the drive and stuff is in you. Shout out to mom. Shout out to pop. Shout out to the manager, man. Hey, they're doing great, man. I'm glad that they're able to pour into you. So this is phenomenal and fantastic. All right, where can the listeners find you at online?
For now, LinkedIn. LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. All right, you know LinkedIn now, but we're gonna get him on YouTube. We're gonna get him blogging. We're gonna get some content. He's gonna be out there, so be on the lookout for more posts going forward, man. So Salam, appreciate you being on 10 Minute Tuesday. This was awesome, bro.
Also, it was really nice speaking with you. And every time I get to talk to you, I get to learn a lot. Unfortunately, you didn't talk as much today, but it was good to meet you, and it's definitely um an honor to be on your podcast.
Oh yeah, appreciate you. Appreciate you taking the time out. And then, as I said in the beginning, if you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe, and tell all your friends to listen to 10 Minute Tuesday. And we will talk to y'all next week. Y'all have a great day.